Michelle Shaman, the Loan Diva. How are you today? And I am super, super excited today. Look, I even have my golf shirt on for this one. I have Scott Reid in the house. Yes, Scott, how are you? So I got to tell you guys, I've known Scott for, oh my gosh, how many years? It's been like 15 years or something, or maybe more.
It's got to be like 14, I think.
Oh, wow.
15, yeah, yep.
You took care of one of my very dearest and best friends when she was moving to Phoenix, Arizona. I was stressed out. She was leaving me in California, and I had to Google who's the best guy out there. And your name popped up, and I called you. And in 5 minutes, I'm like, "Yep, I trust you. You're taking care of April."
We were meant to be. We were meant to be together.
Yes, and I am so glad we are chatting today because the market is turning right now. And I feel like it's shifting from the seller market where, you put your house up, it sells in 3 days with 20 offers for a $500,000 over asking, to now we've got a little bit of a different trend. But before we get into that, because I know the answer to this question, but I want everyone to know why I love you. How did you get into real estate and why?
Well, I'll try to narrow it down into a nutshell. When I was younger, I used to sketch house plans, and I wanted to be an architect. So that was my first love of houses and properties. But you had to be really good at math to be an architect. So that kind of went on the shelf for a while. I actually, after high school, got into the travel and tourism business, and eventually owned 4 travel agencies in Arizona. So I have been here for a long time and know a lot. After 9/11, obviously the travel industry kind of took a tank there. And I had a really good friend that was in real estate and said, why don't you get your license? So after I closed my travel agencies, I got my real estate license, and the rest is history. I've been doing it now for 21 years.
Yeah, wow. That is awesome. And you're amazing at it. So tell me the markets that you're in. I know I've referred people to you for Phoenix and Scottsdale and gosh,
Just
Chandler,
like, yeah.
And so tell me a little bit about those markets and the difference between, the price points and what's going on in the different markets right now.
Right. So years ago, everyone heard of Phoenix and Scottsdale. Those were the 2 main cities that people were paying attention to. And both great cities, but just like everywhere else, we've been growing over the years. Right. And some of our farming communities, like Gilbert and Chandler, you mentioned, are now just major booming housing development areas. And all the infrastructure that goes with that. They've got their beautiful shopping centers, and we're known for our restaurants and our cuisine. We're a melting pot, so we have people moving from all over the place. So we've got great Italian food, we've got great Indian food, Vietnamese food. I was just out the other night and had great Vietnamese food. So we've got all the restaurants and things like that. On top of that, we've got our recreation. So we've got, of course, golf is one of our number 1 recreations. We've got the hiking, we've got the bird watching. People don't realize that, being in Phoenix or the metropolitan area, we're only an hour and a half, 2 hours from Flagstaff and the White Mountains. So we can be up and skiing in the afternoon and be back home in a hot tub at night. So that's one of the beauties of living in Arizona is we do, you have to drive 2 hours, but we've got 4 seasons, which people don't realize. So we do get out of the heat in the summertime. I was in Flagstaff. Our office opened up an office in Flagstaff a couple months ago, and I was up there for the grand opening. Beautiful 79 degrees, breeze, beautiful Arizona blue skies, just gorgeous. So yeah, there's a lot here to offer just about anyone that, is interested in exploring the Southwest.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the market right now. Like I've seen in some of the states that I do business with, it seems to be shifting, not so much a seller's market and now more of a buyer's market, where the buyers who before, like even a month or 2 ago, couldn't get into a house, and with the higher interest rates, they were kind of stuck and getting priced out. But right now, what I'm finding is we are able to ask for seller concessions to literally buy the interest rates down to where they were last year, so we can get those people qualified for that house again. Are you seeing that in your market right now?
Totally, totally. And you're right. It was just like, a month and a half or 2 months ago that the change made. And in my 20 plus years of experience, I've never seen a market change
I haven't
so
either.
drastically, so fast. It almost seemed like it happened in one weekend. But to your point, yes, it's now becoming more of a balanced market. We're trending towards a balanced market. So that's great for the buyers. I have quite a few buyers I'm working with now that were just totally afraid to even put their toe in the water. And now that things are balancing out a little bit, we don't have as much competition with the, big cash investors, although they're still here, but not as much. We now have some leeway with the properties. And as you mentioned, the sellers are making some concessions. They'll even look at contingent offers now, which they didn't do before. So yeah, we have a lot more, I'll say, tools in our tool belt that we used to have coming back out that we are able to work with to get people into something that, even 2 months ago would not have been possible.
Yeah, that seems exciting. So on the buyer side right now, what are you telling buyers that we can share? I know a lot of realtors like to keep secrets because I know you're one of the best and you've got all kinds of tools, but what are you telling people right now that we can share and just to get them off the fence?
Right.
A lot of people aren't sure what's going on right now. And I personally think this is one of the best times to buy because, a year ago, you had to settle. If you wanted a 3-car garage, you probably weren't going to get it,
Right.
and now do people have more of a choice with more inventory on the market right now?
Definitely. Our inventory has gone up 65% in the last 60 days or so. So yeah, we have a lot more inventory in the market, which means that the buying power is a lot more diversified. So what I hear mostly now is people are concerned about the interest rate going up. But as you mentioned, the interest rate going up, we can get concessions from the sellers sometimes. So therefore that equals out. But also interest rates are still at all-time lows. Many of my newer clients don't remember that, back in the 80s, we had 16-17% interest.
Right.
So what I'm telling my clients is, if you're waiting, thinking the interest rates are going to go down anytime in the near future, they're not. So now is the time to jump in. And again, with the concessions and help from the sellers, you're pretty much going to be where you're at without that feeling of, I need to make a decision on this house in 5 hours, or in some instances, it was immediate because there was a line of people waiting to get in the house to see it. And you walked out of the house and you're like, okay, he wants it. I need to know an answer before we get to the car, what you're going to offer. So luckily those days are behind us for right now. And it's more of you can actually breathe, exhale, and take your time to make the biggest decision that you're going to be making in your financial future on buying a house.
Right. And like what I've always tell people is now is more of a normal market. So you can take the time to think, is this the perfect house for my family? And if it is, marry the house, buy the house. You are dating the interest rate even, because we know with recessions, as we dive into this recession, it could be 18 months, 24 months from now, interest rates might go down, but the housing market in a recession usually stays flat or goes up. So if people buy now, it's a good chance their house is going to stay flat or go up. And when the interest rates do drop, for us to get out of a recession, whether it's 24 months or 36 months or whenever that happens, we could always get them out of that rate. And then it's a bonus, but at least they got the house they fell in love with and they weren't having to scramble and just buy whatever's available right now. Right.
Right. And they're making an investment every month into their future. Whereas if they waited for the interest rate to go down, they're paying someone else's mortgage with their rent. And that's never a good idea in my book. So I'd rather see someone building their own financial future than someone else's.
Yeah. So, hey, tell me a little bit about the price points in those 4 cities that you mentioned. You had Gilbert and Phoenix and Scottsdale and Flagstaff. And I know you do business all over Arizona because you're my Wonder Man out there.
You're my Wonder Woman.
I'm your Wonder Woman.
Loan Diva. You're my diva.
Tell me a bit about the price point so people can understand like what they can get. I still think Arizona is an amazing market, and I love going down there in the winter when there's snow on the ground here in Nevada. I love to go to Arizona and golf.
Right,
it's
right.
amazing down there.
You know, we got beautiful golf courses, you know, and in most instances, you're going to have a golf course within probably 10 or 15 miles of your house, if not closer. So
Right.
if you're into golf, there's no issue there. We've got the golf for you.
Yeah.
But as far as the price points, again, we're you know, situated really nicely there because we've got our entry level houses. We can even get condos and things like that now for, you know, in the low 200s in certain areas. Probably the sweet spot right now is around 350,000 for, you know, entry level. And then, of course, you know, we're Scottsdale and we're Arizona. So we go all the way up until I just was in on a deal the other 2 months ago in Silverleaf, which is one of our ultimate spots to buy a house.
That's beautiful out there.
Yeah. We had a $9.75 million house that sold in one weekend.
Wow.
So again, we've got entry level all the way up to your ultimate prestigious mountaintop homes and everything in between. As far as the areas, you know, Scottsdale tends to be a little bit more on the higher side because of the, you know, the property values there.
And they have great shopping.
And you can get into Chandler, you can get into Goodyear, Surprise, for a house for probably 400,000 that would easily be 600,000 or 700,000 in Scottsdale. And again, those areas, their infrastructure has been growing. So you still have the wonderful restaurants, you still have the great shopping. You know, everything is still there other than the address. So people are thinking that they need to be in Scottsdale to get that lifestyle. That's not the case anymore. We pretty much have it all over the valley. So we can easily find a house that meets your criteria and your pricing, and with your help, get you into that.
Yes. So, hey, really quick, before we go, how do people get a hold of you? What's the easiest way for them to reach you so they can ask you questions or get set up with you?
Exactly. 602-625-9936. Call or text is the easiest way to get a hold of me. I do, you know, the other social media and stuff like that, but I try to keep it simple. I'm kind of a non-drama type of guy. So phone call or text is the easiest way for us to get started. And then after that, you know, we can work on each individual case on how you like to communicate. But that's the best way to get a hold of me.
That's perfect. Well, thank you for your time today, Scott. I totally appreciate you. And guys, if you are on the fence, buyers, now is the time for you to be in control. So let's get out there and get some purchases done.
Exactly. Thank you so much. So good to talk to you again.
Yeah, it's great catching up.
Yep. You have a great day.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.